Imagine a world without blueprints, without fashion magazines,
Huh.
without even written language.
Hard to picture, isn't it?
It really is. Yet in that world, the very first humans were already designing their homes, crafting their clothes, and expressing, profound ideas through art.
Absolutely.
What if we told you that the earliest interior designers and fashionistas shaped our world long before recorded history? It sounds kind of wild, doesn't it?
It does, but it's true.
But that's exactly what we're going to uncover in today's deep dive. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive.
Great to be diving in.
Our mission today is a journey back to the fascinating world of prehistory. We're going to zero in on how early humans, the very first innovators, defined and expressed themselves through what we now call art, architecture, fashion, and even early concepts of interior design.
Things we think of as modern, really.
Exactly. We've got a stack of incredibly insightful source material that's going to illuminate these often overlooked aspects of ancient life, and trust me, it's going to be full of surprises.
Oh, definitely. And this isn't just about revisiting ancient times for the sake of it. Understanding prehistory offers profound insights into fundamental human needs, their intrinsic creativity, and the very roots of our modern concepts of aesthetics and built environments.
So it connects directly to us now.
Directly.
All right.
As we extract these key nuggets of knowledge from our sources, you might just find yourself having a few aha moments, realizing how much of what we consider modern design actually has its genesis tens of thousands of years ago.
Wow.
It's about seeing the threads that connect us directly to our most distant ancestors. This deep dive will really unlock a deeper appreciation for the achievements of prehistoric humans, allowing us to look beyond just survival and see sophisticated acts of creativity and self-expression.
That's a powerful way to put it. So to set the stage for this journey, let's unpack some foundational definitions from our sources that will frame our entire discussion. First, history. It actually has a dual meaning for us today. On one hand, it comes from the Greek historia, meaning inquiry, knowledge acquired by investigation. This emphasizes that history isn't just a static collection of facts. It's an active, ongoing pursuit of understanding the past. It's a living investigation, really.
Precisely. It's about asking questions. And the second meaning, which is crucial for our topic today, is the period of time after writing was invented.
Ah, okay.
This definition highlights the fundamental shift that marked the end of prehistory. Before writing, our understanding comes almost entirely from artifacts, structures, and art, things that require careful investigation and interpretation.
Like detective work.
Exactly. Once writing emerged, humanity began to record its own story directly, changing the very nature of how we access and interpret the past entirely. It's like switching from archaeology to journalism.
Right. It shifts the whole game. So what about art? The Encyclopedia Britannica defines art as the use of skill and imagination in the creation of aesthetic objects, environments, or experiences that can be shared with others.
Skill and imagination, that's key.
For prehistoric creations, this implies so much more than just drawing on a wall. It tells us that early humans weren't just surviving. They were applying skill and imagination to create beauty, to express ideas, and to make things that could be experienced by their community.
Shared experiences.
It wasn't just functional, it was aesthetic. That's a powerful human impulse.
It absolutely is. And when we look at architecture, our sources define it as the science or profession of designing and constructing buildings or other structures.
Even the earliest shelters?
Even the earliest, most rudimentary shelters, we see the very beginnings of this science and profession. The thoughtful selection of materials, the way they're put together for stability and purpose, that's embryonic architecture long before blueprints or formal training. They were solving complex engineering problems with incredible ingenuity.
Wow. Okay. And then we have decorative arts, which is surprisingly broad in its scope, according to our sources. It encompasses any of the arts pertaining to or referring to the following: painting, sculpture, glass and glassware, ceramic and pottery, metallurgy and plants.
It's a huge range.
This list itself tells you just how many different skills and materials ancient peoples were mastering, even for what we categorize as decorative. The sheer range of their artistic skills, from shaping clay to working with metal, really makes you rethink what ancient means. They were incredibly sophisticated.
They truly were. And finally, interior design. Our sources unpack this in a couple fascinating ways. First, there's the really technical side. It's the science and art of carefully planning everything inside a building,
Uh-huh.
from the wall finishes and materials right down to the furniture and decorations. It's about making sure the space works perfectly for its intended purpose, how people move, and its overall character.
Function and flow.
It's about deep intentionality, understanding how a space functions and feels.
But then it shifts, right? One source talks about creating rooms that pull you in and make you want to stay in them and make you want to live in them.
Exactly, that emotional layer.
This brings in the emotional and experiential aspect, moving beyond mere function to how a space makes you feel. It's about comfort, belonging, and psychological connection, something we still strive for in our homes today.
Definitely. And Martin Lawrence Bullard's perspective, as noted in our sources, really brings it home to a modern audience, but with this ancient echo. He says, "A good interior is one where you believe in yourself and your taste and don't follow trends. Create what you love. It's the key. Be individual, trust in your own style. If it looks good to you, then it is good."
The beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Precisely. Live, love, and decorate with abandon. What's truly fascinating here is how this very modern philosophy of self-expression and individual taste could surprisingly echo how ancient people approached their spaces.
Because they couldn't follow trends?
Exactly. They were following trends because there weren't global trends as we know them. They were creating what they needed, what brought them comfort, and what was meaningful to them, using local materials and knowledge.
That personal connection.
This foundational understanding of what we mean by art, architecture, and interior space will really unlock a much deeper appreciation for the achievements of prehistoric humans. It allows us to look beyond just survival and see sophisticated acts of creativity and self-expression.
That's a profound connection to make. Given that rich tapestry of early human expression, the next logical question arises. How do we even begin to analyze these styles, especially from periods without written records?
It's a challenge, for sure.
Our sources provide a fantastic framework outlining 4 elements used in the analysis of style. The first is what our sources call epochal, or racial. And here, racial refers simply to the dominant cultural group or era, not modern biological definitions.
Right, it's about the time period, the epoch.
It's about understanding the broad characteristics of a specific period or civilization when a style truly flourished, essentially the time of style. This allows us to categorize broad movements or eras.
Yes, it's about understanding the overarching characteristics of a particular age or civilization. Then there's the individual element, which relates to its originator, often named after the specific makers.
Which must be tough in prehistory.
In prehistory, this is obviously more challenging because individual artists or architects are almost always unknown to us. But the concepts still remind us that behind every creation, there was an individual mind, a unique vision, even if anonymous. These aren't just random acts, they're expressions of specific human creativity.
Exactly. The third is character, which refers to the tone or theme of a style, using examples like classic or romantic. For prehistoric art, while we don't have manifestos or written descriptions, we can still infer character.
You sort of feel it.
Yeah. Is it naturalistic, capturing the essence of an animal? Is it symbolic, imbued with deeper, perhaps magical meaning? Is it focused on fertility or the hunt? These questions help us understand the underlying themes and emotions, the story the art is telling.
And finally, styles are often designated from the people who originated it, connecting artistic expressions directly to the specific groups or cultures that created them.
So linking style to a people.
Right. Categorizing styles in this way is incredibly important for understanding patterns, cultural shifts, and the evolution of human expression over vast periods of time, even when specific names or precise histories are lost to us. It allows us to piece together a narrative of human creativity, showing how different groups develop their own unique visual languages.
So we've outlined how we categorize style. But what forces actually shape these styles over millennia? Our sources unveil a rich tapestry of dynamic influences. Religion, for instance, has always had a profound impact on artistic and architectural forms, dictating themes, symbols, and even the very purpose of structures and objects. Think of the sacred spaces or the symbolic animals they chose to depict.
Absolutely. The spiritual significance infused into cave paintings or megalithic structures is palpable. Then there's climate and land, which directly dictated materials, forms, and needs.
Can't ignore the environment.
Not at all. If you live in a cold, forested region, your shelters and clothing will look vastly different from those in a warm, open savanna. The environment isn't just a backdrop, it's a primary designer, forcing specific solutions.
Right. And while not as centralized as later periods, ruling monarch and government structures even decentralized ones in prehistory, would have influenced large-scale projects and expressions of power within communities.
Maybe not a king, but a leader.
Perhaps a powerful chieftain or a revered shaman might commission or inspire certain works, consolidating community effort for a shared vision, much like a patron of the arts today.
A good point. And of course, materials themselves are a direct link to what was possible. The availability of resources like specific types of stone, bamboo, or even animal hides directly shaped what was possible and how things were made.
You work with what you've got.
Exactly. You can't build a silk garment without silk, or a massive stone monument without massive stones. They were incredibly innovative with what was locally available to them.
That leads naturally to monument of styles and craftsman earlier styles. This concept highlights how previous innovations build upon each other. Now, obviously, we're not talking about the Renaissance here.
No, not quite.
But the principle is exactly the same. Later styles in prehistory were undoubtedly shaped by the artistic and architectural achievements of those who came before. It's a continuous conversation through time, even when the speakers are silent stones.
Well put. And then the broad but vital influence of culture, encompassing beliefs, practices, and societal norms. Culture is the crucible in which all these other factors mix to produce unique artistic expressions.
And economy definitely plays a role.
You might not think so, but yes. Think about how a period of scarcity, even in prehistory, perhaps a particularly harsh winter or a sudden migration of game would dictate what was possible.
Less time for elaborate art.
Precisely. A community wouldn't have the time or resources to create grand, non-essential art when everyone is focused purely on survival, much like how economic downturns in modern times impact what gets built or created.
Technology is another massive driver. The invention of the needle, for example. Huge impact on fashion, allowing for more complex garments.
Absolutely. Or the development of sophisticated stone tools, which opened up possibilities for more intricate carvings or larger-scale stoneworking. Each technological leap dramatically expanded what was stylistically possible.
And finally, the growth of world communications, even in its most primitive forms, trade routes, migrations, would have impacted the spread and evolution of styles.
Ideas travel with people.
Ideas, techniques, and even aesthetic preferences could travel with people.
This raises an important question for us. How do these factors interact? It's rarely just one factor, but a complex interplay.
Yeah, it's never simple.
The availability of new stone tools, for instance, might allow for more complex carvings, leading to new religious expressions, which in turn influences societal structure and the kinds of monuments a community decides to build. It's a dynamic, interconnected web of influences.
So with these foundational concepts in mind, what story do the rocks, bones, and remnants of prehistory actually tell us? It's time to journey through the distinct ages of humanity's earliest creativity.
Let's do it.
Before we jump in, let's set the scene with some key geographical locations. Our sources highlight the southwestern France and northern Spain, also known as the Franco-Cantabrian region, as a particularly significant hub of prehistoric activity.
A real hotspot for archaeology.
It's where some of the most famous and well-preserved examples of prehistoric art and architecture have been found.
This region served as a vibrant cultural center for many millennia, leaving behind an incredible archaeological record that continues to inform our understanding of early human life and expression. It's almost like the prehistoric art capital of the world in many ways.
And we'll be exploring the chronological order of styles in prehistory through 4 main ages: the Paleolithic Age, the Mesolithic Age, the Neolithic Age, and finally, the Bronze Age. Each one reveals fascinating shifts in human ingenuity and self-expression.
A huge span of time.
Let's start with the first, the Paleolithic Age, spanning from approximately 30,000 to 10,000 BC. This is also known as the Old Stone Age, a time before written history.
Way, way back.
Our sources tell us that during this period, Homo sapiens, or Cro-Magnon man, were the dominant human species, and their tools were primarily made from chipped stones. This was also the Glacial Age, so imagine a much colder, more challenging environment than today.
Definitely colder.
Where people lived a nomadic lifestyle, constantly moving in search of food and shelter. Interestingly, our sources mention that the art of this period was concerned with old age.
Old age. What does that suggest?
That's a fascinating phrase, and I think it's a profound window into the nomadic mindset. Imagine living hand to mouth, reliant on cycles of nature. This art suggests a deep reverence for the endurance of life, for ancestral wisdom, or perhaps for the ancient, unchanging power of the earth. It's a meditation on legacy even without written words.
That makes sense. That nomadic lifestyle profoundly influenced every aspect of their material culture, from the type of art they created to the clothing they wore. They couldn't carry much, so efficiency and durability were paramount.
Everything had to count.
Exactly. Everything had to serve multiple purposes or be easily transportable.
Moving into Paleolithic art itself, we see general characteristics like sculpture in the round, which means fully three-dimensional.
Right. Viewable from all sides.
And relief sculpture, where figures project from a background. Within Paleolithic art, our sources mention sub-periods like Mousterian, Aurignacian, and Magdalenian. Think of these as different chapters, each showcasing subtle shifts in toolmaking and artistic expression.
Gradual refinements.
Like the incredibly detailed bison-licking insect bite from the later Magdalenian period, which truly showcases the artist's keen observation of animal behavior.
Amazing detail. The key artistic characteristics of this age were primarily concerned with food or fertility. This isn't surprising given their reliance on hunting and gathering for survival.
Life depended on it.
Totally. The art wasn't just decorative, it was an attempt to gain some form of control over their management of resources, often through magic or ritual. This magico-religious purpose, as our sources put it, represents a giant leap in human development,
Thinking beyond the literal.
showing early abstract thinking and symbolic representation. Examples like the art found in Magura Cave demonstrate this abstract, non-realistic approach, while Lascaux Cave, of course, is famous for its powerful and often naturalistic animal depictions. They were trying to influence their world through art.
Within Paleolithic art, we can distinguish between two main types, portable art and stationary art. Portable art was, as the name suggests, something that could be carried.
Art on the go.
Our sources describe it as engraved or painted on stone, bone, or ivory. This includes figurines, necklaces, bracelets, and even decorated tools like spear throwers or harpoons. Imagine carrying a small piece of art with you on your nomadic journey, a personal talisman, perhaps.
The most famous example of portable art is undoubtedly the Venus of Willendorf, dating from about 23,000 BC. Found in Willendorf, Austria, this small figurine, carved from limestone and only 11.25 centimeters high, was probably designed to be held in the hand, almost a pocket-sized deity. It's widely believed to be a fertility symbol due to its exaggerated female anatomy.
Those famous features.
Right. There's even an ongoing debate regarding the decoration on the figurine's head. Is it basket work, a woven headdress, or elaborate hair? This highlights how much interpretation is involved when dealing with prehistoric artifacts and how many layers of meaning could be embedded.
We can only guess, really.
Other Venus figures, like the Venus of Vestinice and Venus of Lesbougue, reinforce this theme of the fecund goddess mother, emphasizing fertility and life-giving rather than conventional beauty or love. It's a celebration of life's continuation.
Fascinating. Now, onto stationary art, which refers to pictorial images or markings engraved, carved, or painted directly on the walls and roofs of caves. These are the famous cave paintings you often hear about.
The really iconic stuff.
Locations like Lascaux Caves, Chauvet Caves, and even Wandjina in Australia, Kuwait Caves, and the aptly named Cave of Forgetting Dreams are monumental examples, each a vast, hidden gallery.
The techniques used in these stationary artworks were quite sophisticated, far beyond simple daubing. They are generally found in shallow rock shelters or deep within caves, suggesting varied purposes or accessibility.
Not always easy to get to.
No, paintings could be outline only, filled with a flat wash, or shaded in one or several colors, demonstrating an understanding of form and depth. Finger drawings were made by impressing fingers on wet clay or dipping them into paint.
Using their own hands.
Hand imprints, considered some of the earliest art, could be positive, where a paint-daubed hand was pressed against the wall, or negative, where pigment was sprayed around the hand's outline, perhaps through a reed or hollow bone, creating a stencil effect.
Like prehistoric spray paint.
Kind of. Some art was also sculptural, carved in high or low relief, modeled in clay or engraved, such as the Venus of Lossel.
And the materials for this stationary art were entirely natural, sourced directly from their environment. Pigments came from the earth. Yellow ochre, red ochre, manganese, and iron oxide.
The basic palette.
For binders and application, dyes were mixed with animal fat. Charcoal was used for black, and white clay provided a lighter tone. Reeds might have been used for blowing or applying the paint, demonstrating a clever use of available natural resources. It's truly a masterclass in prehistoric material science.
It really is. The subject matter in Paleolithic stationary art is overwhelmingly dominated by animals. They are depicted naturalistically and accurately, capturing the essence of the creature, even if their relative size within a composition might violate realism.
Bigger doesn't always mean more important, maybe.
Possibly. We see magnificent bison, like the bison-licking insect bite or the crossed bison, and a compelling image of a woman holding a bison horn from Lossell, suggesting a connection between human and animal realms.
Humans are less common, though.
Far less common and often more stylized or simply represented by hands. The ritual dance image from our sources is one of the rare instances hinting at human figures in activity, perhaps engaged in a ceremonial act.
This animal focus ties directly into the use of painting in hunting rituals. Our sources emphasize that prehistoric art was almost entirely animal depiction due to people's dependence on them for survival.
Makes perfect sense.
The painting of animals almost certainly played a part in magic rituals performed before a hunt, as if to place a spell over their prey, or to ensure a successful hunt.
Sympathetic magic.
These paintings might also have served a ritual function in connection with passage rites, signifying a deeper spiritual connection beyond just sustenance, perhaps marking coming-of-age ceremonies.
Shifting to Paleolithic religion, its core function was linking the visible, everyday world with powerful, unseen forces and spirits. The Ficcan goddess mother, manifested in the tiny sculpted figures of the human female, like the Venus figures, clearly represents a deity of fertility and life-giving.
Again, survival and continuation.
Rather than conventional beauty or love. This speaks to the paramount importance of reproduction and abundance in their challenging existence, a deep spiritual connection to the cycles of life and nature.
And then there's the intriguing figure of the shaman of Les Trois Frères. This individual likely led ceremonies that made magical use of the paintings and clay figurines.
A spiritual leader.
Our sources provide a detailed description of their patchwork costume, almost a composite creature. Reindeer antlers, ears of a stag, eyes of an owl, beard of a man, paws of a bear, a patchwork of animal skin, and the tail of a horse.
Wow, what a combination.
This wasn't just a costume, it was a profound transformation, emphasizing a deep connection to the animal world and perhaps the ability to bridge the human and spirit realms. It's a powerful symbol of their spiritual beliefs.
We also find the earliest evidence of religious practice in burials from the Old Age. Graves were furnished with food offerings and flint implements, assumed to serve the dead in an afterlife.
Believing in something beyond.
This foresight, providing for the departed in another existence, speaks volumes about their belief systems and their concept of what lies beyond life. It suggests a belief in continuity, a profound comfort in the face of death.
When it comes to Paleolithic politics, our sources suggest that leadership would have derived from the strongest hunters, the wisest older men and women, or individuals with perceived spiritual gifts.
Leadership based on ability or wisdom.
It was a leadership based on merit, experience, and perhaps a connection to the unseen. Intriguingly, reindeer antler batons, like those found at Goff's Caves in Cheddar Gorge, Somerset, have been interpreted as symbols of authority.
Really, like early badges of office.
Giving us a glimpse into the very first forms of official power, perhaps even the earliest scepters.
Now let's turn to Paleolithic fashion. Our sources indicate that changes in clothing were influenced by prevailing climatic conditions, increasing technical skills, and possibly even changes in the physical type of primitive man.
Adapting to the Ice Age.
Exactly. Their clothing was primarily made from fur, with furs and skins fastened using antler or bone pins. They also utilized natural dyes.
Colorful hides.
Potentially. The challenge for us, of course, is that durable materials like stone, bronze, and bone survived, while perishable materials like fibers, bark, and hide are rare, only found in very specific conditions like lake dwellings or tombs.
Most just rotted away.
Unfortunately, yes. However, we know they were assembling pieces and sewing them together with threads drawn from animal ligaments, such as reindeer tendons or even horsehair, using needles.
Actual sewing.
Yes. Our sources also mention the possibility of weaving appearing earlier in temperate regions, perhaps derived from basket work, with loom weaving also developing, using materials like flax and wool. This tells us they weren't just wrapping hides, they were crafting textiles.
That's a huge leap. And the colorants and dyestuffs they used were all from nature. Red ochre, yellow ochre, weld, madder, woad, cochineal carmine, and dwarf alder.
It's amazing to think of the spectrum of natural colors they could achieve, not just for cave walls, but for personal adornment.
So they weren't just drab, brown, and gray.
Probably not. A phenomenal case study in Paleolithic attire is Otzi the Iceman. This preserved prehistoric man was found dead and fully clothed in the Ötztal Alps, Austria.
Famous mummy.
Right. He was a hunter, and his clothing was incredibly practical and functional, designed for hunting and cold weather. This isn't just basic covering, it's sophisticated, purpose-built gear, a masterclass in early layering and material science.
It's incredible. Let's break down Otzi's outfit. He wore a cap made of bearskin stitched together, complete with a chin strap to hold it in place.
Keep his head warm. Essential.
His hide coat went down to his knees, covering his upper body with the fur on the outside. It was made of goat and sheep hide sewn with animal sinews and held together with a belt. This coat was clearly in use for a long time, showing its durability and smart repair.
Well-loved gear. He also had a grass cape or mat woven from alpine swamp grass, believed to be used for rain protection, an early form of rain gear.
A grass raincoat. That's brilliant.
Ingenious. His leggings were two separate pieces, also made of goat and sheep hide, with the top enforced with leather strips and knotted onto a belt with another leather strip. There were loops to fasten his shoes. His loincloth was made from narrow strips of sheep hide stitched together.
Quite complex construction.
Very. And he had a belt with a pouch made of a calfskin strip about 2 meters long, which he either wrapped twice around his hips or used as two separate belts, one for the loincloth and one for the coat. Finally, his shoes were remarkable.
What were they like?
An inner shoe of lime tree boss netting stuffed with dry grass for insulation, and an outer shoe implied to be made from animal hide, like his other garments.
Insulation and everything.
Connecting Otzi's detailed clothing to the concept of early functional design really highlights the ingenuity of these people. His bearskin cap for warmth, the fur-out hide coat likely for weather resistance, and that ingenious grass cape for rain. It tells us these people understood thermal regulation and material properties far beyond simple covering.
They knew their stuff.
They were truly engineering for survival, crafting sophisticated solutions for warmth, protection, and mobility in extreme conditions. This attention to detail and practical innovation truly demonstrates how even basic needs spurred remarkably sophisticated design solutions, making Otzi a living testament to prehistoric human ingenuity.
It makes you think, doesn't it? We fret about finding the right hiking boots, and Otzi was out there with tree bark and grass, designing gear that worked.
It really puts our modern innovations into perspective.
Moving on, we enter the Mesolithic Age, or the Middle Stone Age, which spans from approximately 10,000 to 8,000 BC.
A transition period.
This period saw significant advancements, notably the invention of the bow and arrow and pottery for food storage. There was also a societal shift towards the domestication of small animals, beginning a slow but profound change in human lifestyles.
These developments are crucial for understanding the evolving human story. The bow and arrow revolutionized hunting, making it more efficient and perhaps safer,
Big advantage.
allowing hunters to target prey from a distance. Pottery allowed for better food storage, which meant communities could stay in one place for longer, contributing to more settled patterns and a less purely nomadic existence.
Starting to settle down.
And domestication, even of small animals, hints at the beginnings of a more controlled food supply and a deeper human interaction with the animal kingdom. These aren't just isolated inventions, they're catalysts for societal change.
In Mesolithic art, the key characteristic is that it often depicts human activity. Unlike the Paleolithic focus on large animals, we start to see scenes that involve people directly,
More narrative, perhaps.
engaging with their environment and each other. Examples from our sources include the Cave of Forgotten Dreams, Phallic Dance in Spain, Dance of Kogel in Spain, and Marching Warriors, also from Spain. These show humans engaged in rituals, daily life, or communal actions, moving away from purely depicting the hunted to portraying the hunters and their society.
It's a shift in perspective. In terms of types of art, portable art in the Mesolithic includes pottery. It was utilitarian in origin, typically hand-molded or coiled, demonstrating a practical approach to design.
Form follows function.
Examples like the Nakata II vessels show a foundational understanding of form and function. This represents a significant step in human technology, creating durable containers for storage and cooking, vital for more settled communities.
A game changer for food.
For stationary art, we see rock paintings, which are similar in nature to Paleolithic cave paintings, but crucially moved outdoors to vertical cliffs or rock shelters.
Out of the deep caves.
An example is the Bowman and Deer cliff painting, which again shows human involvement in the hunt. This shift from deep, hidden cave art to more accessible outdoor rock art and the emergence of pottery tells us a great deal about evolving lifestyle.
What does it suggest?
It suggests more settled communities, a greater focus on community activities, and perhaps a different relationship with the spiritual world that didn't require retreating into deep, dark caverns. The art became more integrated with the open landscape.
Absolutely. From the Middle Stone Age, we transitioned into the Neolithic Age, or the New Stone Age, dating from 7,000 to 3,000 BC. This period marks one of the most transformative shifts in human history, often called the Neolithic Revolution.
A huge revolution.
The widespread domestication of animals and the development of agriculture. Along with this, we see the development of basic methods of architectural construction in wood, brick, and stone, leading to permanent settlements.
The domestication of animals and the development of agriculture in the Neolithic period led to settled communities, which fundamentally changed human society. This newfound stability allowed for more complex social structures, surplus food, and consequently, new forms of expression and construction.
More time and resources.
People could invest time and energy into building permanent homes and communal structures, which was a radical departure from nomadic life.
Let's delve into Neolithic religion. Our sources highlight a strong connection to nature, showing an awe with it through numerous round symbols of the sun and moon,
Watching the skies.
reflecting the importance of celestial cycles for agriculture. We also see veneration of stones and pillars along with star and tree worship, all deeply tied to the natural world that now directly sustain them.
The main theme of goddess symbolism in the Neolithic period is the mystery of birth and death and the renewal of life, not only human, but all life on Earth, and indeed the whole cosmos.
The cycle of life.
The mythic goddess or great goddess of earlier hunting cultures had been generally associated with creation and regeneration, but now her female divine power went beyond animal models of birthing and nurturing. She extended to watering, tending, and protecting the whole world of vegetation,
And reflecting farming.
becoming a mistress of water and vegetation goddesses. This clearly reflects the agricultural revolution, where fertility of the land became as crucial as the fertility of animals, demonstrating a spiritual evolution alongside societal changes.
Yes, and we also see animal worship, or zoolatry, referring to rituals involving animals and the glorification of animal forms, perhaps as powerful forces of nature or providers.
Still respecting the animals.
This is connected to totemism, which recognizes an intimate relationship between human groups or individuals and specific animal, plant, or inanimate object species in nature. The, quote, "may all animals and plants" encapsulates this deep interconnectedness, a holistic view of life that predates our modern divisions.
This era also saw a revolution of the symbols, with figurines and early art depicting women as goddesses and bulls, signifying fertility and strength. And the construction of circular enclosures points to significant religious or communal spaces, central to a settled community's spiritual and social life.
Gathering places.
Finally, animism, from the Latin anima meaning breath, spirit, life, is key here. The attribution of a discrete indwelling spirit to every material form of reality, such as plants and stones. This holistic worldview permeates their art and practices, seeing life and consciousness everywhere.
Regarding Neolithic politics, the settled farmers of this period, roughly from 4,000 to 3,000 BC, left far more obvious symbols of power and considerable organizational ability.
Signs of structure.
This is a big step from the more fluid leadership of the Paleolithic. With permanent settlements and larger populations, the need for organized leadership and communal effort grew immensely.
Indeed. The construction of great communal tombs, such as West Punnet in Wiltshire and Bellisnap in Gloucestershire, known as Long Barrows, required thousands of hours of work by many people.
Huge undertakings.
Our sources estimate that the outer ring ditches of roughly contemporary Windmill Hill in Wiltshire also represented a massive undertaking. If we connect this to the bigger picture, these large-scale constructions indicate a monumental shift in social structure.
How so?
They required significant cooperation, a clear hierarchy to organize labor, and the emergence of organized leadership in these burgeoning settled communities. This isn't just a few individuals, it's a collective, coordinated effort that speaks to developing political systems and a sense of shared identity and purpose.
When it comes to Neolithic art, we again look at different types. Pottery during this age features simple decorations, with forms that often mimic baskets, bells, or leather sacks, adorned with geometric designs.
Get it more decorative.
Examples from our sources include the Anatolia jar, early Harappan bowl, Peterborough ware vessels, and Gumalnita pottery. These weren't just functional, Their geometric patterns show an emerging sense of abstract aesthetics.
For portable art, we see clay statuettes of female figures, which appear to be related to some form of fertility figures centered on a mother goddess. Notably, these appear far less stylized than the carved Venuses of the preceding Paleolithic period.
More realistic?
Perhaps more naturalistic, yes, suggesting a more direct representation of the divine feminine in the context of agricultural societies. A prime example is the seated woman of Çatalhöyük, described as a baked clay, nude female form, seated between feline-headed armrests.
Feline armrests.
Yes. She is interpreted as a fertile mother goddess in the process of giving birth while seated on her throne, which has two handrests in the form of leopard or panther heads. It's a powerful and complex iconography for the time.
Definitely. In terms of rock art in the Neolithic, the scenes depict mainly domestic activities, with little indication of hunting or gathering, clearly reflecting the shift to an agrarian lifestyle.
Showing daily life.
The Saharan rock painting from Algeria, dating from around 8,000 to 4,000 BC, is a vivid example of this, showing scenes of herding, daily life, and the new relationship between humans and domesticated animals.
But perhaps the most iconic and enduring form of Neolithic art is the megalith stone monuments. These are large stone monuments used as burial chambers or tribal gathering places.
Big stones.
The term megalith itself comes from the Greek megas, meaning large, and lithos, meaning stone. The sheer effort to move and place these stones represents an incredible feat of early engineering.
There are different types of megaliths, each with a unique purpose. A menhir is a single great stone set on end, sometimes arranged in parallel rows.
Standing stones.
And our sources note they served as homes, perhaps spiritual homes, or markers for territory. Then there's the dolmen, also known as a portal tomb or grave. This is a type of single-chamber megalithic tomb, typically consisting of 3 or more upright stones, supporting a large, flat, horizontal capstone, forming a table-like structure.
Like a giant stone table.
Most date from the early Neolithic period, from 4,000 to 3,000 BC, and were usually covered with earth or a cairn. A cromlech is a circular arrangement of menhirs, often serving as significant ceremonial or astronomical sites.
And of course, the most famous example of megalithic architecture is Stonehenge in England. Erected as early as 4000 BC in Western Europe and built in several stages around 2000 BC, it's a prehistoric monument located in Wiltshire.
Iconic.
Surrounded by a dense complex of Neolithic and Bronze Age monuments. Of the 30 original upright stones, more than half are still standing, with the tallest being about 17 feet and weighing over 50 tons.
50 tons.
Moving stones of this size required immense human power and sophisticated organizational skills. Truly a monumental feat.
Stonehenge is a prime example of post and lintel construction, where massive upright posts support horizontal lintels. Scholars widely interpret it as an astronomical observatory, enabling prehistoric people to make accurate predictions about the seasons.
Essential for farming.
Crucial for agricultural societies. Its layout, winter scenes, and ceremonial venue depictions all point to its profound significance as a calendar, a temple, and a gathering place. Our sources also mention other megalith types within the Neolithic context. An orthostat is an upright slab, a stone row is a linear arrangement of uprights, and a taula is a straight standing stone topped with another.
Lots of variation. The monumental shift in Neolithic art towards settled life, agriculture, and communal structures like the megaliths powerfully reflects the growing societal organization and new spiritual beliefs of the time.
You can really see the change.
Indeed, the sheer effort and coordination required for these structures tell us a story of community, shared purpose, and belief systems that transcended individual survival. It's a testament to what people can achieve when they work together on a grand scale, driven by shared cultural and spiritual goals.
Now we move to the Bronze Age. Our sources here list its dates as 30,000, 10,000 BC, which you might notice overlaps quite significantly with the Paleolithic age we just discussed.
That seems confusing.
It isn't a mistake. It's a fascinating detail from our provided material, highlighting that technological advancements like metalworking didn't happen uniformly across the globe.
Ah, okay. Regional differences.
While some regions were just beginning to experiment with copper and tin, others were still firmly in the Stone Age. It's a powerful reminder that progress in prehistory wasn't a neat, synchronized march, but a complex regional tapestry of innovation.
Makes sense. Not everyone got bronze at the same time.
During this time, copper and tin were widely used, leading to a new era of metalworking. We also see continued advancements in pottery.
The implications of metalworking are huge. truly transformative. It allowed for the creation of more durable and effective tools, weapons, and indeed, new forms of art and larger-scale construction.
Metal tools change everything.
Bronze tools, being harder than stone, could shape materials in ways that chipped stone could not, opening up new possibilities for craftsmanship and design. This led to more efficient farming tools, which boosted agriculture, and more effective weapons, changing warfare and power dynamics within and between societies.
And trade networks.
Trade networks for copper and tin would have also grown, connecting communities further.
In terms of Bronze Age art, pottery continues to be a notable form, with examples like Gefudengi and Chalcolithic pottery highlighted in our sources. These often show increasing sophistication in form and decoration, reflecting improved techniques and perhaps specialized artisans.
Craftsmen emerging.
And interestingly, our sources connect the primitive art of the Moai stones, those iconic statues on Easter Island, to this period, despite their remote location.
Wow, Easter Island, that's far-flung.
It is.
This connection, as presented in the source, hints at a broader, perhaps even global, network of human creativity and monumental expression during these formative periods, although the precise links can be complex and are often still debated by archaeologists.
Still mysteries to solve.
Absolutely. The ability to work with metals profoundly transformed human capabilities, influencing everything from daily life to artistic expression and the very architecture they could conceive and build. Imagine the difference in sculpting a stone with a stone tool versus a bronze one. The precision and scale achievable would have been radically different.
Night and day.
This also contributed to the rise of specialized craftsmen, as metalworking required specific skills and knowledge, leading to more complex social structures.
Okay, let's unpack this shift from general history to specific architectural forms. When we look at the characteristics of primitive shelters, our sources tell us a few key things. They were typically quite small and almost always round.
Round.
Why round?
This wasn't arbitrary. It was due to limited materials and the sheer need to conserve effort. Every ounce of energy counted. That roundness reflects several reinforcing realities. Forms in nature are rarely straight, so using natural materials like branches or hides often lends itself to curves.
Following nature shapes.
Secondly, the materials available were often difficult to work with and had weak points, making a continuous, curvilinear form more stable and efficient than sharp angles. A circle encloses the maximum area for the minimum perimeter, which is also incredibly efficient for material usage and heat retention, crucial for survival in harsh climates.
So, smart design.
It's pure functional design.
The term cavemen is often used to describe early human beings, and our sources confirm there is certainly evidence that ancient people made use of caves as shelter.
The classic image.
However, it's unlikely that caves were the most widely used of early human shelters. Many areas didn't have caves, or they weren't suitable. So early humans had to innovate, developing incredible architectural solutions with what they had.
Indeed, their ingenuity led to a diverse array of built structures. Let's look at some specific types of prehistoric architecture beyond caves. First, the wigwam.
Like in North America.
Primarily associated there, yes. This is a structure made of tree branches tied together at the top, with enclosing surfaces built by weaving more flexible twigs and branches through the framework, often covered with bark or hides. There's also an Arctic variant, though the source implies a similar structure, adapted for colder climes.
Simple but effective.
A detailed example is the Paleolithic conical wigwam. It started with digging a shallow depression, then erecting a framework of poles, which was covered with sheets of birch bark. Spruce boughs might have been placed around the perimeter for extra insulation, with excavated earth around the base. This shows incredible resourcefulness and adaptation to the local environment and its materials.
Then we have the teepee of the American Plains, characterized by a frame of long poles tied together at the top, forming a stable cone.
Also very iconic.
Its outer walls were made of skins, arranged to permit a flap doorway and, crucially, a top flap that could be adjusted to control air circulation, allow daylight, and act as a smoke outlet, a sophisticated form of ventilation.
Built-in chimney.
The practicality of the teepee was immense. It was easy to take down, pack, and transport, making it ideal for nomadic peoples following animal herds. It was truly a portable home.
Following a similar functional design, we have the igloo in the Arctic, a structure made of ice blocks. This is a brilliant example of using readily available materials in an extremely cold environment, leveraging the insulating properties of snow and ice to create surprisingly warm shelters.
Using snow to stay warm. Amazing.
Another fascinating type is the beehive hut, some of the oldest known structures in Ireland and Scotland. Dating from around 2000 BC, some were even built as late as the 19th century, a testament to their enduring effectiveness and design, often utilizing dry stone construction where stones are fitted without mortar.
Still being built much later.
Shows the design worked. And from Italy, we have the trullo, plural trulli. This is a traditional Apulian dry stone hut with a conical roof.
Those pointy roofs.
Exactly. Their unique construction style is specific to the Itria Valley, in the Merge area of Apulia, Italy. Trullis were generally constructed as temporary field shelters and storehouses, or as permanent dwellings for small proprietors or agricultural laborers, with their golden age being the 19th century. Their design minimizes the need for wood, utilizing abundant local stone.
Clever use of local materials again.
Finally, we revisit the megalith, which we discussed earlier in the context of Neolithic art, but it's also a major architectural type. As we know, it comes from the Greek megas, large, and lithos, stone, referring to prehistoric structures built of massive stones, usually for religious or funerary purposes. Stonehenge is, of course, the prime example.
Architecture as monument.
These structures, from the simple wigwam to the monumental Stonehenge, represent an incredible level of ingenuity and adaptation. They were perfectly suited to the environment, the available materials, and the specific lifestyle of the people who built them, demonstrating sophisticated engineering and design principles without formal training. They prove that human beings are natural builders.
So we've explored the forms and functions of prehistoric creations. But what did these early innovators actually use to bring their visions to life? Let's delve into the raw elements that truly formed the building blocks of prehistory. Stone was arguably the best, most lasting, and effective material available.
The ultimate survivor.
Its durability is why so much of what we know about prehistory comes from stone tools and structures. They mastered its properties for cutting, shaping, and building.
Beyond stone, early humans ingeniously utilized twigs and branches for frameworks and weaving, and leaves for covering and insulation, often layered to create surprisingly effective weatherproofing.
Natural insulation.
Animal skins and hides were crucial for shelter coverings, clothing, and even as canvases for art, offering a flexible and warm material that could be transformed with simple tools.
And then there's mud. Mud brick, made by compacting mud in a mold and drying it in the sun, was used in much early building and is still used today, like adobe brick in the Americas.
Still relevant.
However, mud brick was a difficult material for roofs. So roofs often had to be made using wood, poles of rush, and animal hides spread over whatever type of framework could be devised. Intriguingly, dome-like structures made entirely of mud brick were possible.
Really? Out of just mud brick.
Showing their advanced understanding of building with this seemingly simple material and its unique structural properties.
Of course, in Arctic regions, ice was used for structures like igloos, demonstrating a mastery of thermal properties and structural integrity in an extreme environment. But perhaps one of the most astonishing examples of material use comes from Mesolithic, Ukraine, around 15,000 BCE.
What did they use there?
Where mammoth bone structures were constructed. The immense bones of mammoth serve as the material for structural frameworks supported by wooden poles.
Building houses out of mammoth bones.
Incredible, isn't it? This is an incredible testament to human adaptability, utilizing the immense resources available from large game in a region where other building materials might have been scarce, underscoring how these limited local materials force remarkably creative solutions, leaving a unique and distinct mark on prehistoric design and art.
Finally, let's touch upon the colors used for art and fashion. Prehistoric artists had a surprisingly vibrant, albeit limited, palette. Our sources tell us it was primarily produced from three primary colors: red, black, and yellow.
The earth tones, yes. The specific pigments they sourced from their environment included red ochre, yellow ochre, manganese oxide or charcoal for black, and white clay.
So a basic kit.
This raises an important question. How did these limited colors contribute to the power and symbolism of prehistoric art? Despite the constraint, the visual impact of such a constrained palette, focused on earthy, fundamental tones, often lends a profound, almost spiritual quality to the artwork.
Less is more, maybe.
Perhaps. It demonstrates that complexity and meaning don't always require an infinite spectrum of choices, but rather a mastery of the few that are available, using them with precision and deep understanding of their symbolic resonance.
As we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that the creativity and ingenuity of prehistoric humans went far beyond simple cave art or rudimentary shelters. We've uncovered an incredible depth and sophistication in their self-expression.
So much more than survival.
From the purposeful design of Otzi's clothing to the monumental engineering of Stonehenge. Without written language, these early humans left us a rich tapestry of art, architecture, and personal adornment that speaks volumes about their lives, beliefs, and evolving societies. They truly were the first interior designers, architects, and fashionistas.
And so what here is profound. These foundational elements of history, art, architecture, and design were already being explored by our ancient ancestors. The drive to create, to beautify their surroundings, to find meaning in the world, and to adapt to their environment through design, these are deeply ingrained human traits
Still with us today.
that have persisted across tens of thousands of years. It shows us that at our core, we are problem solvers, storytellers, and creators, echoing the ingenuity of our ancient past.
Next time you look at a building, or choose an outfit, or even arrange a room, consider how those choices echo the ingenuity and aesthetic drive that began tens of thousands of years ago. What can our prehistoric past teach us about living authentically in our present and future, connecting us to a shared human desire for beauty, utility, and meaning?
We encourage you to continue your own deep dives, to look closer at the world around you and discover the echoes of these ancient beginnings that are still shaping our lives today.